Alright, so this is going to be a different kind of movie review for you from Deadly Destruct. And that is because I watched two adaptations of the same story. And no, not sequels. Two different adaptations. And we're going to compare them. Real quick, if you like my content, give me a follow on TikTok, give me a subscribe on YouTube. Those movies are War of the Worlds 2025 starring Ice Cube and War of the Worlds 2005 starring Tom Cruise. Before we get into the differences, these two movies have a few similarities in terms of issues. For starters, you have the asshole parent that the kids very clearly don't like being around, trying to become a good dad as the movie goes on. You have mostly insufferable children to said father, and you have an awful ending. That's the similarities. Now we're going to get into the actual things. Starting with this shit. Okay, I'm going to be honest. Between Tom Cruise and Ice Cube, only one of them looked like they were taking the situation seriously. Yeah, Ice Cube just sitting in front of that screen genuinely looked like he didn't want to do this. He looked like he was just wanting to do his job of spying on people until he learned that spying on people meant stealing data. Meanwhile, Tom Cruise was legit running across the country trying to keep his kids safe. And here is the biggest difference when it comes to the characters. You see, this movie was definitely better than the Ice Cube movie. And yet, I preferred the kids in this fucking movie. They were adults and they were acting more mature. Yes, I know. The 2005 movie, you had a teenager and a child. That doesn't excuse the way they behaved. At least his kids were taking the threat seriously and making smart decisions. Rachel was either being a know-it-all, shrieking at the top of her lungs, or she was taking it seriously enough. But dude, Robbie, I legit wanted to jump through the screen and fist fight that fucking kid. Dude, I swear, every single decision Robbie made was incredibly frustrating. And then, to make matters worse, dude supposedly gets himself killed, and then we'll get to the ending. Now let's talk about effects. For 2005, the effects on the tripods were pretty fucking good. Like, they legit looked scary. And the aliens, when they were out of it, just as frightening. When you could see the tripods in this movie, they look... No, they didn't look good. No, they didn't. If anything, they look dated. They look like you should have swapped the tripods from both movies and it looked better. Of course, this movie has two major issues that the 2005 one didn't. And that being sticking the main character to a single location, because War of the Worlds needs to be a screen life movie for some reason, and product placement. Legit, not long after I watched this movie yesterday, I checked out a Watch Mojo list, and they point out you can make a drinking game with all the product placement in this fucking movie, and no, it was absurd. And I swear, Amazon really was just looking to line their pockets by mentioning the shopping site at least 6 or 7 times, if not more. This movie at least stuck to generic brands, or not even naming the brands. Or hell, not even showing the logo of the brand. However, there's one thing that both of these have in common that pissed me off more than anything else, and that is the ending. We're going to go through this one first because it genuinely pissed me the fuck off. Okay, first off, the aliens die after causing so much havoc because of microbes. Yeah. And then we get to Rachel's grandparents' house, and not only are her mother, father-in-law, her stepdad, grandparents alive, but somehow her fucking brother, somehow Robbie is fucking alive at the end of that movie. But as bad as that was, it cannot compete with this shit. Dude, I swear. Can we please have a science fiction dystopian movie where every character has nothing but plot armor, apparently? Seriously, every character should have died at least 5 times. And yet, the film shows that not only do they all survive all these attacks, but they win, and he does, and you expect him to be dead at the end of it. No, he survives, quits his job, and reconnects and patches things with his kids. Dude, that's fucking stupid. Granted, this one also gets negative points for having a stupid villain reveal. Alright, I got seconds left. 3 out of 10. 6 out of 10. Okay, the comparisons ran a lot longer than I expected. So, with that being said, stay tuned for next weekend. And, as always, y'all stay interesting.